Before we start, don't forget to share, like and subscribe for great new content. November 11th is Armistice Day, a commemoration for the end of World War I, which ended at 11:11 on November 11th. It was a defining war for New Zealand in many ways, so today we're looking at 5 facts about New Zealand in World War I. Before we start, I'd also like to thank the New Zealand Army and the Wairau Army Museum for their help on this list. According to nzhistory.govt.nz, 9.1% of the total population of New Zealand served in the war, 98,950 in total, while New Zealand had a population of 1.1 million at the time. Anyone who served overseas at the time or involved in military exercises here, or being shipped out on November 11th was counted, but those still in training weren't, including locally based government and military operatives directly involved in planning, recruiting and more. 9.2% of our population contributed to the war effort directly. The official death count for World War I sits at 16,697 New Zealanders who died between 1914 and 1918, but the rules that are used to count those who died as a result of the war have changed a few times. The official New Zealand Roll of Honour added 964 men who died while still enlisted or discharged from war-related causes up to December 1923, as well as 505 men who died while training in New Zealand. Afterwards, though, the government again changed the rules for entry to the Roll of Honour, removing everyone who died after August 1921. The roll is still open, though, with changes being made as new information comes to light. The world had never seen a war of this scale before, but the psychological effects of war don't change. It's brutal, and those on the front line are under constant barrage. During World War I, though, mental health issues we recognise today, like post-traumatic stress disorder, weren't recognised, but still manifested in what was called shell shock. Between 1914 and 1918, the British Army identified 80,000 soldiers showing symptoms of PTSD, with 306 executed for desertion because of a refusal to return to the front lines. During the war, 28 New Zealanders were sentenced to death, with 5 executed for abandonment of post and refusal to fight. Those soldiers were later pardoned for their desertion in an act of government from the year 2000. Anzac Day, which started as a commemoration of the landing of New Zealand and Australian troops at Gallipoli in Turkey, is one of the few national remembrance days of significance around the world that is shared between two countries on the same day. While most countries celebrate wins, we remember one of our greatest military losses. However, we don't remember alone. Anzac Day services are officially held around the world. Turkey, Antarctica, Belgium, Canada, Cyprus, Egypt, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Hong Kong, Ireland, Israel, Kiribati, Malaysia, Malta, Poland, Sudan, Thailand, and the United States all hold official Anzac Day services, attended by representatives of the New Zealand government and military. New Zealand never actually declared war on Germany during World War I. As a dominion of the British Empire at the time, we were permitted self-rule, but international affairs were still handled by the British Empire. When King George V declared war on Germany, it dragged New Zealand, along with Australia, Canada, South Africa and Newfoundland, into the war as well. But New Zealand's expeditionary forces won the second decisive battle of the war when they alone liberated German Samoa. The war also helped shape our identity as a nation because New Zealanders were treated differently to the British forces and tended to have a different resolve. In fact, the First World War was when the term Kiwis first came to use to describe New Zealanders from the trenches of Passchendaele.